My name is Patricia McLinn. I'm your host and designated question asker.
Hi, I'm Kevin Tumlinson, and I'm here to tell the Authors Love Readers podcast all about Books2Read.com.
Now, let's start the show. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Authors Love Readers podcast. We're doing something a little different this time. I am talking to Kevin Tumlinson of an organization that the authors know as Draft to Digital, but that also runs something called Books2, that's a numeral 2, read.com. And that's what we want to talk about this time because there are opportunities there for you, the readers. And I wanted to make sure that you are all familiar with those. So first, hello, Kevin. Thank you for being on the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me on during this period of social distancing.
Yes. We're doing our part for social distancing. It is a pleasure to have you and to have a chance to talk with you. We see each other at conferences and always have things to say. So first, I use the books to read links. And I've had some comments from readers who have sort of said, what is this? What is going on here with these? Why did these say this? So I'm hoping you can explain to readers what the we call them B2R, because everything's got to be shorter, right?
Yes.
What those links are and how they work, and then
Okay.
how they can work for the reader.
All right. Yeah. So actually, they have a lot of advantages for the reader. They're just kind of subtle, so it probably does help to sort of break things out. But Books to Read, that site is ultimately going to be reader-facing altogether. But right now, it provides author tools like those universal book links. That universal link is an author's way of being able to send their readers to anywhere that reader would prefer to buy their book. And do it from just one link. So it makes it easier on the author. They don't have to have 50 links to the various storefronts.
Amen to that. It is definitely easier for the author.
Does help, yeah.
Yeah.
So the on the reader side, the reason this is beneficial is, first of all, they don't have to wade through hundreds of links, but they also can just choose the storefront that they prefer from that page. And they can, if they want, they can make that their default choice. So the next time they encounter a universal book link, it'll just take them to the store they prefer in the product page, the book page for that book. So
That's
I mean, that's
nice.
one
So
way.
it's just
Yeah.
it's automatic.
Yeah,
You do it once and then you go back there all the time. What
exactly.
what if what if you change your store though?
So you can change the store. There's ways to do that from books2read.com. Probably what would happen as a reader, you would probably first email your author and say, hey, I want to change my store. And then the author would probably email us at Draft to Digital and say, hey, my reader wants to change their store. And I'd give you some some instructions on how to do that. But it is that simple. And that does happen. Some readers decide they no longer want to read Amazon, for example. They don't like supporting Amazon, or for whatever reason, and they want to go to Kobo or they want to go to Barnes and Noble. So that does happen, and for that reason, I tend to never set a preference, and that is possible. There's a little checkbox to set your preference, so you can uncheck that and then just choose whichever store you want.
If I recall, that's in the lower left-hand corner when
Yeah, it's like
when
just
this
below. Yeah.
the screen comes up with the first time the screen comes up with all the different stores as the possibilities. I'm like you, I always uncheck that or check it or whatever, but to keep it because I like to see all the possible stores. I
Yeah, I'm
want
the
to
same
know
way.
all the possibilities.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't like limiting my options.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, and we can. There's a lot. There's that's an advantage. Actually, what I'm doing right now, and the reason may sound distracted is I wanted to go ahead and pull it up because I wanted to verify because I believe we're correct, but I think that if you do click the link, I'm verifying live on the air, and you click your
Drum
storefront.
roll.
Yeah. So the way it would go is the author would give you a link somehow through an email, through their website, maybe even on a business card, wherever. And when you go to that link, it'll first pop up with a little thumbnail of the book, and then all the icons of all the stores where it's available. And then you can click the store you prefer, and then it comes up first and says preferred store, and it says we can save your preference. There's a continue button, and then just below that is a little checkbox that says set preferred store, and you can disable that. And you can even say, hey, don't show me this message again or whatever.
So
And it
then
does
it'll
have a link.
just smoothly take you back there every time.
Exactly. So,
Great.
yeah, you can set that on or off. And it tells you right there that if you do need to change your preference, you can go to books2read.com. So there's like little instructions.
That's great. That I appreciate you verifying that for
This is a full
since
service show. We
yeah,
do it all for you.
and since both you and I want to know all the possibilities all the time, we
All the
never
time.
do the easy way, right?
Exactly right.
Okay, that's great, and I think that's a really terrific service to the readers because that means as an author you don't have to try to guess which link would be most useful to your readers. You can
Right.
give all the readers all the links, and they can make it seamless if they want to, or they can keep their choices if they want to. So I
Exactly.
love these. I love these
Well,
links.
and these are woven into practically everything else we do. Everything that we have on the author's tool or resource side that is aimed at readers utilizes these universal book links. So
That's
there are lots of
wonderful.
ways they get used.
Yes. Yes. Okay, and I also know on the Books to Read site there are author pages. I
Yes.
have not been as good about mine as I should be. I have my bio up there, but
Well, you have a website, right?
I do.
Yeah, and that's probably why you're not as diligent about keeping the author page. Although it is handy, I'm considering linking to this directly from my. I haven't done this yet, but linking to this directly from my website, just calling it on my author page there. But yeah, it's one of the reasons we created this is so that authors who didn't have websites and didn't have the means or resources to build a website could have something they could give their readers where readers could
Mm.
find their entire body of work in one place. So yeah, and they're very cool looking. You get information about not only the books, but the author has a bio, and there's quite a bit
Yes.
here for the readers to explore. Actually,
Especially for those authors who are in fact diligent.
yeah, yeah.
We
Now
won't mention any names
You know,
who
no,
are
we're
not
all
doing.
diligent in the author world. But there's one thing that I like about these, by the way, for the reader in particular, I think is cool. But if you want to interact with the author and follow them in all the various social media platforms and maybe get on their mailing list and that sort of thing, all that stuff can be included on that page. So, and it's just a click of a button for the author to add it. But the reader can now find, any if they're really into an author, and I have some readers who are scarily into me at times. I have some readers who really want to talk to me. This is a great way to connect with the authors. You're supporting them first of all, but you've got everything at your fingertips. You don't have to go hunting for anything.
I'm going to have to check on that. I'm not sure that I have the social media
You're
things
probably
on
not
there.
turning things on. I mean, honestly, it's there's so much going on that page that I think even I have overlooked some things.
Even you, Kevin.
Even
Wow.
me.
Okay. Okay. Well, so listeners, check me on what if I have not. If you go and look at my author page and I have not made full use of it, feel free to nag me.
Shame her. March
Shame
her through the
me. Yes.
streets saying, shame, shame.
Okay, so we have the B2R links and we have the author page. What
Yes.
else does Books to Read offer
Tied
to readers?
in with the author page is what we call our book tabs. And basically, those are book pages, just like you'd see on Amazon or elsewhere. But instead of being able to purchase directly from that page, it uses the Universal Book Link to send you to everywhere that book is sold. So if I were to make a little hierarchy chart, it would go universal book link, author page, book tab.
Hmm.
And you get to those. So on the author page, there'll be typically these little carousels full of books. And what's great, by the way, is if you are interested in an author and they write multiple series, the authors can actually have their series broken down by carousel. So you can focus only on the books you like.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
those are customizable too. And we're going to get to next up. I think we'll talk about something else if you want about the book lists, the reading lists. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But the book tabs are a handy way for you. You can actually share this with people, which I always encourage readers to do. So if you like a book, you can actually share the book page. It can have a little carousel on the bottom usually. So if it's the books are part of a series, you might have other books in that series right at the bottom of the page. So you get to learn all about the book, click to buy it if you want it, and you can. There's still some like follow the author stuff on that page. So
So I have many series. I have 6 romance series, and I have 2 active mystery series, and I have what I'm referring to as a third pre-series in
okay,
mystery, which means there's only 1 book out so far. But
it's
I
a
expect to
pre-series
have
in
more.
mystery. Does that mean it's nothing but clues?
Yeah. Now the 1 book is done and complete and out there, but I haven't gotten to book 2 and 3 yet, but
Okay.
I'm gonna get there. But then I also have, sometimes characters from one series make cameo appearances in
Yes.
other series.
Ooh.
So they could be included in the carousel, the where they make the cameo?
That would be a great instance for using the reading list. And
Oh,
here's what's pretty amazing about the reading list. This is actually a tool that's usable by anybody. It doesn't even have to be an author. Actually, all these could be used by anybody anyway. But the reading lists are an opportunity for the readers themselves to be able to use books to read tools. And the way they work, you would go to books2read.com, and there is a little login thing up top. There's a thing up top that says link tools, and under that it says reading lists. And when you click on that, it takes you to a page where you can create a new reading list. You don't have to be an author to do this. If you are, say, a big fan of my work and Patricia's work, you could create reading lists that feature all of our books. Or in the case of what you were talking about, you could create a reading list, and a carousel could be dedicated to the reading order for crossovers between your books. So read them in this
oh,
order. This is my
cool.
recommended reading order. Yeah, I have one called Thriller Cart now. I used to call it Thriller Cartel, and then we started something called that. But I have one called Thriller Cart, and it is me and a bunch of my thriller writing buddies, both traditional published books and indie authors. But I have things broken down by like themes. So I have one that's all books based on Atlantis, and books that are all based on the Antarctic, and books all based on the Mayan culture. So, and they're all thrillers. So, they're all in the genre that hopefully my readers are looking for, but they can either find a complete series or jump into a theme and explore books by a bunch of authors in that theme. So that's just one example of how you could use that.
I like that. I don't know about doing all the work for it because I'm thinking, "Ooh, Christmas theme, St. Patrick's Day theme, spring theme,
Well, here's
summer,"
the good
of
news.
all the
you
somebody
can
else can do it?
you could get someone else to do it. What it takes is going and creating the universal book links for those books on books2read.com. And that is simple. And this is for the readers and the authors. You can go and grab, let's say you go to Amazon, you find the book that you're interested in, you copy the URL from it, and you go to Books to Read and you drop that in a little box, and it automatically scans all the stores online and then creates the universal book link. Once all those links are created, then it's just basically it's drag and drop into the little carousel on the reading list. So you just have your list of universal book links. It shows you the covers. and you just drag the covers over, and you can check them out. And you can customize that, by the way, with a custom URL to make it easier to find. Like mine is
Oh, neat.
a thriller cart you could actually find at books2read.com/RL, meaning reading list, /thriller cart. And then once you've got that, you could share that with family and friends. I love the idea of readers sort of cultivating these lists to share with other fellow readers. Like you start like fan clubs, or if you're a book club, here's what we're reading over the next month. You can have all
Oh,
those
it's
books
cool.
listed in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for podcasters, man, this is great. Podcasters and bloggers, it's like, check out my reading list. I don't have mine finished yet, but I have a word slinger podcast is my show, and I have a reading list I'm building that's based on books from people who appeared on the show, as well as I have a separate carousel for author related books.
So can only the creator, the originator of the reading list add more books to it, or can you make it so that anybody could? Could you have a group reading list?
So I love that idea. I don't think we thought about that, but right now it's only the list owner.
Okay.
So that's a good idea that I am now going to pitch as my own. When I go,
Okay, listeners, you are my witness where this idea originated.
but that's a very good idea. No, I think in this case, the workaround would have to be that you could create like maybe a Google form, which is free, and tell your group, hey, if you want to submit books to be included, just email them here, and include a link. And that way, if they include a link to it online, it's easier for you or the person you have contracted to go in and create the universal book links and set that up. So that's the
Yeah,
workaround I'd recommend.
and actually, Kevin, that might be a better idea because that has some constraints on it. Because if it were totally public, trolls could come
Yes,
in, and
that's right.
that could be
Now,
an issue.
if it was a matter of, this is what I'm going to recommend to my group. If it's a matter of like assigning limited access, for example, that might be because we have a means of doing that on the author side where you can have people who manage your account for you. Who
Hmm.
don't get access to like the financials or any of that, but you can bring them in as like if you have a VA or something like that. So we have the technology to do this. So I think maybe that could be something we'd add. I'm not promising. They always ignore my suggestions because they mean work.
Well, but now you tell them it's my suggestion, and maybe
Yes, I'll
it'll
do
pass.
that. Yeah, that might actually
I
carry a
don't know.
lot more sway, actually.
I
So
don't know. I don't know. So,
these are, by the way, one of my favorite. This reading list. When I first started with Draft Digital, I started the day like a week before we announced Universal Book Links, and it's been my favorite tool ever. And then when we created reading lists, it knocked it out of the top spot because these are so cool, so versatile. They look great. I don't know if you've looked at them, but they're beautiful, and they're very customizable. And to me, it's universal in that it's the author can use it, the readers can use it, podcasters, if you could think of a reason why you would want to promote books to people, this is your tool because it doesn't
well,
have to be your books.
and that's why I wanted you to come on and let the readers know about it, because I don't think very many readers do know at this point,
Yeah, we've
what
pushed it to authors a lot, but
yeah.
it's a different game. Like right now, we don't have a reader facing audience. We're still building our reader facing site and tools. So we've dipped our toes in those waters, but we don't have like a full machine yet. So
Can you tell us what the vision for that,
yeah,
reader-facing
yeah.
world would be?
Yes, I mean ultimately, what we want is that books to read has always been built around the idea that eventually we want readers to be able to discover their new favorite author on that site. We go back and forth on whether or not we want to mess around with e-commerce and become a storefront. Others in our space have done that. It's
Mhm.
got its own challenges, we've always worked better with partnering with people to do that end of things while we supply the materials, supply the books.
Mhm. Mhm.
So ultimately, the idea is Books to Read is going to be a platform for readers to discover new books, new authors that they will just love, and then follow them, be able to interact with them, help to support them by sharing things. And the tools like this one, the reading pages really are right now. This is, in my mind, the reader facing tool that we have. It's other things can be used. This legitimately was designed with the idea that readers might use it, and as well as authors, as well as everybody. But it gives you kind of a little bit of ownership. Like, you're never going to own the author's work, but you can have a little bit of ownership in the presentation of it to others, right? So, I
Mm.
love guys like Stephen King and, James Rollins and, John Grisham. I love all their work. Where else are you, other than on Amazon, where it's among millions of other books? I mean, where else are you going to find this motley crew of authors in one place? And you can even include features. Like, I have a featured section that I created. When you only do one book in a carousel, it gives you the ability to write a paragraph or two around it, right? So
Ah,
imagine using that space to do a review of your current read or your favorite book or whatever. And then you add that same book to a carousel down below. This, to me, it's a great sort of social tool for readers to be able to share their love for these books and to support the authors at the same time.
that's really fun. I particularly perked up when you talked about book clubs. It seems like an ideal
Yeah, I
um,
believe so.
home for a online home for a book club.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think what we would want to add as optional features to this for book clubs. I'm not promising this is what we're doing. They don't even know I'm saying this. I'm just going to put that out there. But
You're
having some of the
hearing it here
features,
first.
intermingling some of the features of our author pages with this, so that you could do something like, if you do have a book club, maybe you've got a little, rather than an author bio, you've got a club bio that has contact
Oh,
information.
neat.
That I could totally see us doing that. In fact, I mean, I can think of multiple ways that could be done. Uh, so yeah, it's just, you can get really creative with these tools. Book clubs in particular, I think, could benefit from it, just because it's a shorthand way to communicate and share this stuff.
And I will just toss it out here when you were talking about the possibility of having it be e-commerce, have a storefront as well as a reader gathering place. Uh, There's there's such an inherent tension
Yeah,
um, between a storefront and then the readers. I'd almost hate to see it go
right,
that way.
right.
It is more convenient,
Yeah,
so you have the convenience factor, but there's something um, welcoming about being at a place where it's not a storefront, where it's disseminating information and letting the reader um, gather their own information in the way that makes is most useful to them.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, you're serving two different missions, really, when you offer,
yeah.
here's my storefront, please buy from me, or here are the books that I love, go check them out. And that's really the problem that the universal book link was designed to solve, is that we don't need an e-commerce solution per se, because we are
No.
creating a way for you to go buy that book. Now, granted, we're breaking one of the golden rules of marketing, in that we're forcing you to add a click between, the reader, the customer, and the product. But it's, I think it's a small blip. I think if readers really are interested, they're going to be okay with that extra click to choose where they want to buy it. And it does put the choice in the reader's hands, which is empowering.
That yes, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. As a cranky consumer myself,
Me too.
I want all the power in my
Well,
hands.
that
So
sort of thing is you and I are very similar in a lot of ways. I've discovered, but but cranky consumer might sum us up pretty good because we want to make sure that we have a deep concern over things that might be sort of taking advantage, manipulating us.
manipulating,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm very much that's a very sore spot for me, to the point of I get overly paranoid about some things every now and then. But that's exactly the thinking here. Like we're not trying. So yes, we survive by sales, but we don't survive necessarily by direct sales. Like we draft digital, all of our money comes from when authors make sales. We get a percentage. So we don't charge the authors for anything. So if you're a reader, that's a good thing. Your author is
Mhm.
not being swindled out of a monthly fee to list with us or anything. But we truly believe in that whole rising tide lifts all boats principle. Like we want the author to succeed so that we succeed, and the author wants the reader to be happy. We're trying to facilitate all that. So having an e-commerce solution, it's not always a bad idea, and it's something we do still have on our plate or our wall, I guess, to kind of explore. But so far, there hasn't been a driving need to do it. We feel much more comfortable offering readers the chance to go pick where they want to buy a book.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on today, Kevin, and introducing the readers to what Books2Read has to offer them, and knowing that this is just the beginning. So we will definitely have to have you come back on as you add more features
Yes, of course.
and
Yeah.
more possibilities for the readers, because um, we readers always want more. More
That's true.
books,
I
more
cannot
ways to
write books
access.
fast enough to satisfy readers. So,
I know, I know.
I mean, I was at one point releasing a book a month, and I still can't keep readers happy. So,
Oh, don't say that. My
no,
readers, you didn't hear him say that. It can't be done, it's humanly
it's
impossible.
human. Trust me, it can't be done.
And the
Don't
and the
pay no
wonderful
attention.
the wonderful thing, I had a release in, June, and the day the book came out, I had an email that night from a reader who said, "I read it, it was wonderful, I finished it, when's the next one out?" And I was like, "Oh, that's so fabulous!" And at the same time, "Oh my heavens. What do you mean when the next one is out? I haven't undug the house from this one." So,
Yeah, no. I mean,
yeah.
wow.
It's both the most flattering thing that anybody could say,
Yeah.
and kinda makes you wanna, at least makes me wanna crawl into bed and pull the covers over my head.
Sometimes, yeah. I am definitely putting the rails in front of the train the entire way, but it is worth it because the readers love it all so much, and the readers are what make my life possible. So I want to do everything I can to make them happy.
True. That is so true. That's one of the things that usually will comment if somebody says they're just a reader.
Yeah,
Holy mackerel, without the readers, there's no us. So
right.
there's no just about it.
You are my
Let's
coveted, beloved reader. That's what you are.
There you go. Okay, you are my coveted beloved reader. I'll have to remember that one. Well, Kevin, it's been lots of fun. I appreciate it very much, and I look forward to you coming back with the new wonderful advancements that you do with books to readers.
Definitely,
And
yeah.
okay,
Keep your
um,
eyes open because I mean we are definitely going to be adding a lot of new stuff. So
great. We will do that. And readers, I hope you'll come back for the next episode of Authors Love Readers podcast, where we will try to give you more useful and interesting news about books, about authors, and about ways you can interact with them. Um, and in the meantime, in this odd period in the world, everybody take care, be safe, wash your hands, sing happy birthday to somebody you love while you wash your hands. Sing it twice. And we'll all be back here to read and talk about books more. That's the show for this week. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for joining Authors Love Readers podcast. Remember, you can always find out more about our guest authors in the show notes, and you can find out more about me at www.patriciamclinn.com. You can also send in questions to be asked of future authors at podcast@authorslovereaders.com. Until next week, wishing you lots of happy reading. Bye.